If you've applied to dozens of nursing jobs and heard nothing back, this video may explain exactly why. Today, we're talking about the resume mistake that costs nurses interviews. And here's the surprising part. It has nothing to do with your experience. I have seen nurses with 1 year of experience get interviews over nurses with 15 years of experience. Why? Because employers don't hire experience. They hire perceived value. And your resume is either communicating your value clearly or it's hiding it. Let's talk about that. The biggest mistake I see on nursing resumes is that they read like job descriptions. Take a look at these examples. Administered medications. Provided patient care. Collaborated with interdisciplinary teams. Performed patient assessments. The problem here? Every nurse does those things. Those statements don't tell an employer anything unique about you. Imagine you're a hiring manager reviewing 50 resumes. Every single candidate says they provide patient care. Every single candidate says they collaborate. Every single candidate says they administer medications. How do you decide who gets the interview? You look for evidence of impact. That's what most nursing resumes are missing. Let's use a real example. Instead of saying, provided patient care to medical surgical patients, you might say, managed care for up to 6 high acuity medical surgical patients per shift while maintaining quality and patient satisfaction standards. Do you see the difference? The second statement paints a picture. It tells about complexity. It tells about workload. It tells about responsibility. And that's what recruiters are looking for. Here's another example. Instead of precepted new nurses, try trained and mentored 8 newly hired nurses contributing to successful onboarding and unit readiness. Now we're talking about leadership. We're talking about influence. We are talking about value. Those things matter. Here's something many nurses don't realize. Recruiters spend very little time reviewing a resume, sometimes less than 30 seconds. That's not because they don't care, it's because they're busy. They're scanning for signals. And if your strongest accomplishments are buried in the middle of page 2, they may never be seen. That's why the top third of your resume is so important. When a recruiter opens your resume, they should immediately understand what type of nurse you are, what specialty you work in, how much experience you have, what makes you different. Within seconds, they need to see this. For example, registered nurse with 7 years of ICU experience specializing in high acuity cardiac patients, experienced in staff training, process improvement initiatives, and interdisciplinary collaboration in level 1 trauma environments. Now, from this paragraph, I know exactly who you are. Compare that to registered nurse seeking opportunities to utilize my skills and experience. That tells me almost nothing. Let's talk about another major issue. Many nurses focus entirely on duties and completely ignore achievements. Your resume should answer this question. What changed because you were there? Did you improve patient satisfaction, reduce falls, train new employees, participate in a committee, help implement new technology? Did you improve workflow, lead quality initiatives, serve as a charge nurse, become a super user? Those things matter. Healthcare organizations are hiring people who can contribute beyond direct patient care. That's especially true if you're pursuing leadership positions, educator roles, case management positions, remote nursing opportunities, or non-clinical careers. Now, let's talk about keywords. Many applications never reach a recruiter. They're screened by software first. Applicant tracking systems look for relevant keywords. If you're applying for case management jobs, your resume should contain language related to care coordination, discharge planning, utilization review, interdisciplinary collaboration, patient advocacy. These all align with that position. If you're applying for leadership roles, include things like staff development, performance improvement, mentorship, scheduling, conflict resolution, employee engagement. The goal here isn't keyword stuffing. The goal is alignment with the role. Your resume should sound like the role you're applying for. Another mistake nurses make is creating one resume and sending it everywhere. That's not a strategy, that's a lottery ticket. Different jobs value different things. An ICU nurse applying to a case management role should not use the exact same resume they used to apply for a staff nurse position. The foundation can stay the same. Think of your resume as a marketing document, because that's exactly what it is. You're not documenting your entire career. You're marketing yourself for a specific opportunity. Now, let's discuss one of my favorite resume improvements: numbers. Metrics create credibility. For example, which sounds stronger to you? Assisted with orientation or supported onboarding and orientation of 15 newly hired nurses over a 12-month period? Which sounds stronger? Worked in a busy emergency department or provided care in a 60,000 visit annual emergency department serving a level 2 trauma population? Numbers create context. Context creates value. Value creates interviews. Before I wrap up, I want to give you a quick resume audit. Ask yourself these 5 questions. Can someone identify my specialty within 10 seconds? Have I highlighted accomplishments instead of only responsibilities? Have I included leadership activities? Have I quantified my impact where possible? Does my resume align with the specific role I'm targeting? If you answered no to several of those questions, don't panic. The good news is that resumes are fixable. In fact, some of the biggest improvements I've seen in interview rates came from small changes in positioning and presentation. The nurses who land interviews aren't always the most experienced. They're often the nurses who make it easiest for employers to understand their value. And that's the goal. Not perfection, clarity. Because when your value is clear, interviews follow. If this video was helpful, subscribe to the RN Network for more nursing career advice, resume tips, interview coaching, and leadership development content. And here's today's challenge. Open your resume and rewrite just one bullet point. Turn a responsibility into an accomplishment. Then come back and tell me what changed. I'm Christina, and I'll see you in the next video.